Recording in progress.
Good evening. This is the Harbor Shellfish Advisory Board, October 7th, 2025, 5:08 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And can we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda, please?
So moved.
Second that.
Motion's made by Mr. DeCosta, seconded by Ms. Mayo to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor, Mr. DeCosta?
Aye.
Ms. Mayo?
Aye.
Mr. Brace?
Aye.
Mr. Franzuto?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? September 23rd. Any revisions? If not, I'll accept an approval or a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Dave said so moved.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Mr. Franzuto has approved, motion to approve the minutes of September 23rd, 2025, seconded by Mr. DeCosta. All in favor, Mr. DeCosta?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Mayo? Mr. Franzuto?
Aye.
Mr. Brace?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. We take a moment of silence for Wong, please. Thank you. Any news or messages from Marine Department? Natural Resources Report. Tara Riley, please. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We had our last. I feel like I'm
echoing.
All right, I'll try to get through this anyways. I'm getting some feedback. We had our last water quality sampling last week. We opened. We're going to be opening ponds on the 20th of this month. The new shellfish regs have gone into effect as of October 1st. We plan on sending out a letter to the commercial permit holders this week to notify them of the updates and encourage everyone to become familiar with them. There will be a special mention related to the dredge change and a reminder of the existing rules for dredges that still need to be complied with. We've been meeting for the eelgrass management plan. Our next meeting is tomorrow at 11. We've begun discussions on prioritizing projects and making plans for 2025 of fall and then 2026. I think there are some assignments and some action items that I think would be really good for SHAP to tackle and take a look at, and I'd be happy to present those at the next meeting if that is helpful. We finished all of our dive surveys. We're currently running the numbers for the harbor densities for the year. This is how we make our decisions on how to open the commercial fishery season for bushel limit. And so we're still kind of looking at those numbers, but I think preliminary wise, the numbers are lower than last year. And so I don't anticipate opening with a bushel raise immediately, but I'll let you know if anything changes with that once we get all the numbers in. And I think that's all I have for right now.
Thank you, Tara. Any questions?
I have a couple.
Bob, please.
Tara, the new dredge design, you brought that up. What about the 6 rings? You know, remember we talked about how the wings come up on the new dredges that are more than 6 rings, or what is it, 7 rings in the regs? I can't remember. I think it's either 6 or 7. And because of the way the dredge design, the sides of the bags come up to, I think, 7 or 8 or 9 rings. I don't want that to become a problem.
So the way that it's worded now is you can use whatever dredge design you want to use as long as it's described in a letter and submitted to the Natural Resources Department. And in the letter that I'm sending out, there's a simple form with a check mark, and I'll read it to you. It says, you put in your commercial permit number, your name and signature and date, and then it says, please check the dredge type you currently use. Traditional chain sweep dredge is one option. Alternative bar plate dredge is an option. And both is an option.
Okay, good.
And JC will hand these out on opening day. If you don't get them in the mail, there'll be, a grace period to turn in whatever you have to show what you're using for the season. There isn't going to be any violations associated with using a different dredge that isn't described in the regulations, except that they need to comply with the weight. And if there is a weight issue, then we'll figure out how we're going to deal with that, because I know that will probably be an issue on whether they're weighed wet or dry, or I'm already anticipating people complaining about it. But the weight thing has been in the works since 2014, so people should already be complying with it. In my opinion.
My suggestion would be to, I don't think you're gonna have any issue with the old style dredges with weight, just because everyone's used them for so long. But for the new dredges, that if someone's gonna fish one of the planer, I don't know, what would you call them? I'm sorry, I call them a planer.
I just call them like a bar plate dredge.
Yeah, bar plate dredge, then they should, I'm having some made by Jimmy Sherlin, and I plan on going and find JC and weighing them ahead of time so that he can see the weights. And that would be my suggestion, is anyone that has them should have them weighed before the season starts, so that JC can verify that they make the weight requirement, and then go from there,
Mr.
Chairman.
I think that's a great idea. And also on that form, there is a part at the bottom for our department that says dredges have been inspected and adhere to updated regulations in it. And I think it's unrealistic to expect something new like this to happen before the start of the season. People wait to get their boats in at the last minute and don't look at their stuff always in advance. So I think ideally it would be great if people did that, but I think we'll have, a grace period for the first month for people to get all their dredges inspected and everything. And if they're overweight, maybe a warning, and then they gotta shave it down and figure it out. I don't know.
If you take a dredge that's brand new with a new bag on and you weigh it as 34 pounds and you fish that dredge for a day, just the mung and everything else in it's gonna take it over 35 pounds, so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure mine get weighed before they go in the water, and JC's gonna weigh them just to verify that I'm good, because I don't wanna deal with it later on. I would think anyone that was smart would do the same thing,
I agree. I think there has to be a plus or minus, associated with the weight. I'm just not sure what number that is.
I think Dave had a question.
Mr. Franzuto?
Tara, can you remind me what's the allowable weight now?
What is the allowable weight?
35.
35 pounds.
Thanks.
So the other question I had was the 5 versus 6 box fishery. We went to 6 last year, but we didn't do it till Thanksgiving, and we did have an abundance of scallops and an amazing amount of scallops, but from what I understand from the buyers and talking with different people, it seems like we're going to run into the same problem that we've had the last 3 years, and that is come January 1, we're going to have a difficulty moving our product, that the demand just drops way off. And if we're going to go to, my big concern is JC. If JC enforces the level box like he did the last year, then 6 boxes becomes 5 boxes. I've been scalloping for 40-plus years, and last year was the first year in my career that I had to scrape a stick across my boxes. It was always understood that you could crown them an inch and a half, and no one said boo. I'm not talking about Mount St. Helen on a box, but a little bit of a crown on a box was always acceptable. And last year, JC decided he was going to enforce a level box, and if he's going to do that this year, that's fine, but I'm going to push to, and I'm not speaking as a member of SHAB at this point because I can't, but I'm going to speak as an individual scalloper. I think you're going to get a lot of guys in here who are going to want to go to the 6 boxes so they can get 30 pounds of weight out of them. Because 5 level boxes doesn't get you 30 pounds of weight.
It's the weight.
What do you
It's
want
fine.
to elaborate?
You know, all I can do is look at the densities and look at the long-term trends and what the catch has been and make my recommendations based on our surveys. And then, if you guys have a different recommendation or the fishermen have a idea that they would like to put forward, then we can all have a discussion about it.
Okay. Tara,
Mr. Chairman?
oh, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, to just quickly follow up on what Bob said. If you got 5 boxes at 8 pounds a box, you're making a day's pay. If you got 5 boxes at 30 pounds, I'm not saying it's not going, but it sure makes it tough to make a living. And I'm not talking about round up boxes. I'm not talking about when you set them up on the dock, scallops are falling off into the water. Just a reasonable height on the dock.
Which has been fairly traditional. I've spent a couple of days with JC and actually witnessed that. Boxes coming off the boat onto the dock and scallops literally falling off, and pushing the limit to that amount is certainly understandable, but and I imagine it's instances like that are encouraging him to bring out the stick. So, let's hope, especially if we start out at 5 boxes, which it sounds like we're going to do, based on surveys, then let's see how the first week goes. Tara, to clarify, your surveys are basically indicating what? That you feel that there's fewer scallops, possibly, from what you...
So we are still tallying up all the numbers. We don't have everything put in the computer yet, but what we get is a general density for the whole harbor, and we compare that number to previous years. And the way it's looking now, it looks like at half the density. I'm still waiting on some numbers to come in, and we'll see. But I also want to remind you that we changed the rules last year so that we can really change the bushel limit without a public hearing, and the select board can do it immediately overnight. If people get in after a week and they're like, there's a ton of scallops that weren't in your survey that you didn't see, and that there's a surplus, so we feel like we can take 6, 7, or 8. But all I have to go on right now are the numbers and what I visually see. We've been looking.
Okay. Well, that sounds like that's the best you can do, and thank you, Tara. Bob?
How many years have we been doing this survey? The dive survey?
Since 2006.
So would you say that, based on what, I know the numbers are preliminary right now, but the numbers that you see this year, are they more compatible with 2022 or 2023, or because last year was just crazy, the amount of scallops that was everywhere?
Yeah, I would say it's more in line with 2021, but also it depends on how many people are actively fishing. What we're seeing in the surveys now we don't get the final harvest and landings that we got back in 2010 because there were many more people fishing.
Yeah. I mean, I understand, I don't wanna come off as a hard, I don't wanna come off in the wrong way here with this, but I understand where JC's coming from, that, like you just said, one guy's got him crowned up like too much, one guy's got him slightly crowned. It's very easy just to say, okay, I'm gonna put a stick across every box, and then everyone's playing with the same playing field, and I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is, even if we don't have the abundance of scallops that we had last year, and we have 30 boats in the fleet, which is, I don't think we had 30 boats last year, even on opening day. I can't remember off the top of my head, but even when we do, I would say 2/3 of the fleet now is a single limit boat. So it's not like the old days where we had 50 boats and there were 2 limits in each boat. 5 level boxes, sticked boxes, doesn't even get you to 30 pounds of scallops. That's just the reality of it. And if you're looking at $14 or $15 a pound, by the time you pay the openers, like Dave says, you might as well just go put a tool belt on and go to work, because you're not making any money. And we only get a couple of months of good weather and a couple of months of when people want these things. So, I would, if we can go to the selectmen after week 1 and hopefully get it on the agenda. But I know, didn't we have to go in last time when the emergency request to get on the agenda? I just don't want to be in that situation again if we decide we want to go down this road after a week of fishing, because this year the fishery starts on the 3rd, I believe, because the 1st is a Saturday, so we're going to have a full week of fishing. So
why don't we put it on the agenda?
On the selectmen's agenda?
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and put it on, whether we have anything to change or
Well,
not.
that's what I was gonna ask, if we could do that. That was my next question, is can we just put it on the selectmen's agenda for let's see, their meeting would be the 5th. I guess we put it on for would we wanna wait till the following Wednesday, the 10th?
We have it on our agenda so that we can do something like that. It's on the agenda.
On the 1st?
It's on the agenda here
Here,
for us to discuss,
tonight,
to make a recommendation or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, all right, so when we get to that line item on the agenda, we'll talk about it more. Thank you, Tara. And when we have our first meeting, our next meeting, will you think you'll have a more definitive survey then?
Well, I'm hoping to have something by the end of this week.
Okay, and does that include, did we do any dive surveys in Mattakit too? Or just
We
that?
did.
Okay, thank you.
Terry, is there any way to anticipate how many active fishermen may begin the season?
I
know
can
that's
take a
a
look
tough
at
one.
how many people bought licenses and who fished last year and come up with a number. But
Any,
that's
have there been any apprentices that have moved up to full license for this year?
I haven't seen that information.
Okay. And this new style dredge, do you plan to somehow observe its performance? And how would you do that? Would you actually take a dive and watch how it performs directly on the bottom? Would it be good to have comparison of the traditional dredge right alongside the new dredge, so that you can give an accurate account of what you see? And the reason I ask this is if it's causing a considerable amount less damage, so to speak, for lack of a better word, then maybe we have a better recourse to adding a pound or two to the weight limit of the dredge, of that style dredge only. I'm just basing this on, and obviously you were there at the select board meeting, and the one fisherman's concerns there at the meeting, and simply trying to address that fine line of being over 35 pounds that fisherman had brought up.
Well, that fisherman was very surprised with the regulations that have been in place since 2014, so I don't think he really was aware of it, and maybe it hasn't been enforced, but it's been on the books for quite a long time.
Yeah.
As far as the dredge study goes, it wouldn't be just an NRD study. It would be a scientific study called a paired dredge study where we would compare the dredges. And the reason why we're not doing it right now is because we need scalper participation to make it legit, so that it's not just our boat doing dredges, and we have people that are actually out there scalloping, helping us do that in the way that they scallop, so that we have comparison between our boat and other scallopers boats. And so that's something that we're working with our academic advisors from the Virginia Institute of Marine Science and dredge tows. And, I don't anticipate that there's going to be a problem with either dredge. It's just, we're just curious now that we have the bluegrass management plan, how the dredges impact the habitat as it stands today. And it's not to say that we're going to ban dredging or limit dredges. We just might, protect certain areas from dredging if we find anything that turns out to be harmful.
Okay, good. Thank you, Tara. Any other questions on the from the board on the natural resources report? Question from the public, Mr. Brassfield.
The public wonders, the comment here got me thinking about with 5 level boxes, its yield's lucky to be 30 pounds. So as the advisory board considers whether and what kind of recommendation to make regarding going to 6, could some language be put in there that at least that yield would be given consideration? Perhaps not the determining factor. In other words, I'm not suggesting they make the limit 35 pounds, but surely that's an important point that Bobby made, and could that be given consideration?
Can you clarify?
And perhaps an annual adjustment. If it's low yield, maybe 6. If it's a great yield, the scallops are big, maybe 5.
I think that would be a year-to-year basis, and we're going to have to analyze what happens in the first week and see how we take it from there. Where I think we're taking the best steps that we can by getting on the select board agenda now, just in case we anticipate there being good reason to raise the box limit, and to try to keep that from being held up.
It seems to be emerging, just from what I hear.
Oh, well, yes.
Emerging, that it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Peter.
Tara, will you have definitive results from your survey in time for our next meeting on the 21st?
Yes, they will have.
So we'll have time, if we need to, once we've heard that, to decide whether we're going to go for the select board. And do we know if there's a select board meeting between then and the beginning of the season on the, would you say, the 3rd, Bobby?
Yeah, let me look at my calendar. I think, if I remember correctly, the 1st is a Saturday this year.
Yes. Yes, so the 1st is Saturday, the 3rd will be the first day of scalloping, and then the 5th, Wednesday, would be the select board meeting. I would have to say, we've got to give it a week. We have to, but I may be wrong. If the remainder of the board, feels we should be you know, going before the select board after 2 days of scalloping, you know, maybe that's a possibility, but I would like to think they would like to have a little more information being brought to them.
So you wouldn't, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, so you wouldn't want to just rely on what Tara says, you'd want to rely on what guys are getting? Because the first
I think it's both.
Because the first couple of days of scalping, everyone's getting their limits and they're coming in early, so it's not a good, right? I mean, they're filling up and coming in soon, so it's not a good indicator of.
It is a good indicator about weight though.
Okay.
So 2 days of fishing, you're gonna know what the weight's gonna be. It's
Yeah.
not gonna change after, whether it's 2 days or 10 days. And the thing is if you did it, you went onto the select board agenda on the 5th, they would put it in place for probably the following Monday. So it wouldn't change that first week of fishing anyway. You would be at 5 for that first week. But if you wait till the following week, now that's 2 weeks of 5, and you're already a week away from Thanksgiving. So I would suggest that we go on to the 3rd. We can always pull it. If, you know, the weight looks good and weights are 35 pounds for 5 boxes and everyone's happy, then we leave it alone. But if it's 30 pounds and, you know, we want that 6 box to get to 30, 35's always been the magic number. If you can get 7 pounds a box, whether it's 5 or 6, that's been the magic number to where after you pay your openers, pay your expenses, you make a decent week's pay. Less than that. And it's also, it's an issue for the buyers because they have orders to fill, and if they're not getting the weight, they can't fill the orders. Because they don't order their scallops by the bushel count, they order the scallops by the weight. If Ken has an order from a restaurant, it's 40 pounds, it's 50 pounds, it's 20 pounds. You know, it's whatever it is, but you need to kind of anticipate what you're getting. And if you only have a couple or 3 boats coming in, or 5 boats or 10 boats, and you need X, you know. So that's
Okay. Well, that certainly makes sense as well. I'm not, my suggestion is not, you know, etched in stone. I'm just trying to think of, you know, not coming up with too quick of an anticipation, but if we can, you know, make an assessment in the first 2 days, that's fine. I'm certainly flexible with how this works out. So, any other discussion for natural resources report? We can revisit this under new business, bushel limit if we feel we need to. Comments from the public. Old business, Tara, we kept this on here just to basically amendments to the town shellfish regulations related to the discussion at September 10th meeting. You know, the other question was, and this has been asked before and the answer has probably been given in the past, following the, if a catch is confiscated, does that fisherman have the right to follow where that catch is going? Whether it goes back into the harbor or it's being opened and given to the island home, can they, is that information available to that fisherman?
Are you asking me that question?
Yes, Tara, yes, thanks.
I would say that you probably should ask JC that question, and Jeff, I would feel more comfortable if they answered the question, and maybe don't get your catch confiscated.
Right.
I know last year, scallops that were scraped off the boxes, JC told me that he took the scallops and gave them to retired scallopers who aren't scalloping anymore, like Herky Stojak and guys like that. So he didn't have he didn't have a lot of them, but he did scrape some boxes, and that's what he did with the scallops. So, and some of them went back into the harbor too. Some of them got put back in the water.
Mr. Chairman.
Dave?
Yeah, we tried doing the island home thing years ago. We just couldn't get around getting them open, paying to get them open, health regulations. The easy way is to put back in order.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Any other comments on this, questions on the amendments? Safe to say we can remove this from the agenda
Yeah.
for our next meeting, okay? Next item under old business is intertidal oyster farming. Unless there's any new information, I spoke with Mr. Fitzgibbon and he said he has more homework to do on this, and now that the season is kind of wrapping up, I guess, he's going to take his time to do some more homework. So we'll be removing this from the agenda as well. If anybody has anything to add before we do, speak up now. Moving on to new business. Couple of new items here. Do we know anything about progress on the creation of an app for harbor temperature, and also add to that the daily scallop catch report? Tara, Jeff said he'd be working on this. Do you have any information you could share with us?
I don't, as far as I know, we have not really been working on it unless Jeff has been doing something that I'm not aware of, but we've been really busy with the eelgrass management plan and everything else that we do in the summer, so this is not really a priority for getting this done. It's not really my wheelhouse, if I'm being honest, technology, apps and stuff like that, so I feel like someone needs to kind of head up the project, or maybe we put it out to bid or figure that out. I'm not really sure.
Okay, all right. Well, one of us can reach out to Jeff on this, and we'll see what he may or may not be doing with it.
I do know that he has been talking to IT a little bit, trying to figure out different interfaces that would work on the town network.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Tara. Mr. Brassfield, go ahead quickly.
Yeah, I know somebody who might be willing to open scallops, and the wife works sometimes at the homestead, and there's nobody does a better job opening scallops than this couple. I'd be happy to talk to them about it if that's of interest.
The
Okay.
Roberts.
What's that?
The Roberts? Oh.
All right, we're talking about an app for logging in daily catch and the harbor temperature. All right, but thank you
Well,
for
just
that.
following up on the earlier comment.
All right,
Oh, you mean for the confiscated scallops? he's
What
talking
to do with the confiscated scallops? I would be willing to explore if there's interest in
All right.
somebody.
I don't think there's enough to really make it.
It may not work, but
Yeah. I mean, so few that I know of anyway.
probably talk directly with the Shellfish warden on that. So we're going to keep this on the agenda. Commercial base scallop bushel limit increased to 6 boxes from 5 starting November 3rd. That's how we've described it here on the agenda. Any more conversation on this?
Only that we don't meet again until the 4th
Yeah.
We meet on
October
the
21st.
of October.
Right, 21st.
Okay. Where am I? I'm lost. Oh, that's right. This is the first meeting.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm thinking second. Never mind then. We'll
And-
talk about it on the 21st.
And that's 2 weeks from today, and Tara says she'll have her figures together, which will be, instrumental with this, so,
And so, go ahead, I'm sorry, keep going.
no, we'll have more time to discuss this before the season begins.
And so, if it's gonna be on the agenda for the 21st, I wanna propose an idea that could make it, give us some fireworks, but maybe give us more insight. If we can reach out to the seafood stores and see if those people will come and give us insight, because there was blowback last year. We know who those people are, we don't have to say their names, but, what do you guys think? I'm just suggesting.
I don't have a problem with it. I just know that probably half of the guys at Scallop now ship their scallops or have direct markets somewhere else than the local buyers, so, I think that letting two buyers decide the fate of whether we go from 5 to 6 is not fair to the other guys. I mean,
Well, one,
again, Peter, for me, it's all about the weight.
yeah,
You know, if the weight's good, I don't care, we're fine with 5, I really am. It's just like, last year we went to 6 because the weight wasn't there, and we had the abundance of scallops, and we were enforcing the level box, so, I think, it wouldn't hurt to say, hey, we're discussing it.
that's what I'm saying, that's mostly what I'm saying, is that last year that one or two of them complained that we didn't let them know what was going on, and one person specifically, I said, you've been in this business for a long time, you know when we meet, and you should be checking the agenda to see what's going on, especially during the
He wants
commercial
a
stuff.
handwritten note to.
What?
He probably wants a car and pick him up and drive him here.
Well, that's not gonna happen, but at least you could say, hey, we're having a discussion about this, letting you know.
The other issue is we need to make sure we have other members here besides me and Jimmy, because we can't discuss this, so.
Right.
We can discuss it like I'm doing now as not, I probably should get up and walk over there, but we're not discussing it other than just putting it on the agenda at this point, so I don't think I'm violating any
I don't think that we
rules.
do.
But when it comes down to an actual discussion and a vote, we can't vote on this, so.
Yes.
We need to have a full board, or at least a full board of 4 other members besides Jimmy and myself, so.
If we were voting tonight, we have 4 other members here, Scott will be back October 10th, so he'll be here at our next meeting, I'm sure.
Plus, we don't have a price yet, so we're just talking about weights. And so, how could someone say that was a conflict if we have no way to base off what the weights are worth? So I don't think it's a deal yet.
And it's certainly fine to notify the buyers that are here. Honestly, I think, I'll put it frankly, if they continue to treat the local fishermen the way they have been, the local fishermen are gonna find more niche markets off island.
Well,
And
the other option too is as we get closer, the 21st is pretty close to start date, maybe some of the other fishermen will actually come in too. So,
yeah, yeah.
I'll start putting the word out to the guys I know that, everyone's gotta get through this last weekend of the holiday. After this weekend, guys start thinking about Scotland a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe putting the word out is a better way to do it,
yeah.
because then the fishmongers can't say they didn't know about it, because everyone's talking about it.
A simple way to do it is call the Current, or just text the Current, I can do that, and say, hey, this is gonna be on this SHAV agenda on the 21st at 5 o'clock. Anyone who wants to come can put in their 2 cents.
Great, perfect. I mean, the only fisherman issue that arose last year was concern that there's not enough openers to handle 6 boxes versus 5, and honestly, if a fisherman doesn't have the opener capacity for that, then they don't need to be getting 6 boxes.
And some did.
It's a personal.
That's the thing. You
Yeah.
don't have to catch 6. If you want to, you can.
You're right.
That's You know, I have actually heard fishermen say to me, the state limit's 10, why don't we just leave it at 10 and let everybody harvest what they want?
Yeah.
You know, I don't necessarily agree with it, but there is some logic to it. If you've got openers and you've got a market that will take your scallops, then yeah, I guess, why not? You know, I mean, you know, we have a unique situation here where we have to open our product every day. The guys on the mainland sell their scallops in the shell, and the buyers open their scallops. So they love the 10 bushel limit because they just show up at the fish market with their boxes, they weigh them, they don't even weigh them, they dump them into totes, and they get so much per bushel and they drive away. And those scallops go to New Bedford and get chucked in New Bedford. And I maintain, and always have and always will, that one of the reasons why our product is so much better than the vineyard and the mainland is because we shuck them that day, and they are taken care of that day, and they don't sit in the shell in a walk-in for 2 or 3 days before they get shucked. And it makes a big difference in the quality of the product. It's the same thing between a day boat sea scallop and a sea scallop that's been out to sea for 10 or 15 days. And that, I would never want to change it to that, to be honest. So, yeah, I think the simple thing is to put it on the agenda for the 21st. That gives us time if we want to get on the selectmen's agenda for that first week in November. I can send the thing to the Current asking them to post something about it that week before, and if anyone that wants to come, you know, and Mr. Chairman, if you want to reach out to the 2 buyers and say, hey, we're having a meeting and this is what's being discussed, they can come. You know, it's a public meeting, anyone can come in and make a comment.
It's just 2 buyers, not 3.
Yeah, there's a third.
Sales,
I forgot.
Glidden, and
Sales,
Ted.
Glidden, and Ted, yeah. Those are the 3 primary buyers on the island.
Okay.
Sousa's not buying anymore?
Well, they didn't last year. Can certainly
they-
reach out to them.
I think they've shut down completely.
They're can buy some scallops from Sousa's when you need some extras, and I think they're shipping directly to Connolly themselves, but just their own scallops. So. They still have the market, but it's very limited. I think Shirley sells scallops out of the market to anyone who wants to come in, but I think it's just mostly they're moving their own product.
Do you have something more to add to that?
No, I was just pretty sure that I saw that the market closed.
It could be. I mean, I think last year she was still selling scallops, but.
Okay. Anything else on the bushel limit? Questions or comments from the public? Anything anybody'd like to have on the agenda for the next meeting?
I don't know if this needs to go on the agenda for the next meeting, maybe Tara can answer the question for me, but someone asked me this yesterday and I didn't know the answer. Now that the boats are out of most of the boats are out of the anchorage, is the horse shed open to clamming again? Do you know?
I'll have to look and see what the reason.
Oh, we're losing you, Tara. We lost your volume.
I'm not sure what the reopen date was, but I will check for you.
Okay, that just, if we could know that for the next meeting so I could let people know, because some people wanted to go in there clamming and I didn't know what the deal was, so.
Good to know. It's
They're thick in there.
one of the spots. That's where they are. Yeah, and you know, I'm not sure if I said it here before, but the 4 or 5 events I've been to with raw bars this past summer, all the littlnecks are from off island.
What was that, the shellfish ball, the scalloper's ball? Were those off
I
island?
didn't, you know what? I didn't
They were-
even walk
I was
up
curious
to
if
the
they were
bench.
Matticat or if they were.
No.
Most of them have been fine now.
Nobody's fishing them, but I guess 2 of the oyster farmers are now, two of them have gotten grants from the NSA, and they're raising them in bags. So, and it's possible they'll have marketable product next summer. So I believe that's Simon and Emil, or Simon and Max, I'm not sure. Our next meeting's October 21st, then November 4th. If there's nothing else to discuss
Special
tonight.
town meeting the 4th.
Oh,
No, thought we were gonna have one.
No, we're having one.
yeah,
We are?
yeah.
Short-term rentals?
Mhm.
Great.
Is it the 4th?
It is the 4th, isn't it?
Okay, then we most likely will not be meeting the 4th.
Can we have a meeting on a different day, since it's the first week of Scolopin? Or do we, because we just talked about trying to be on the selectmen's agenda for the 5th. That kind of throws a monkey wrench in everything.
Yeah, the town meeting always lands on one of our meeting days, it seems. And it's hard to hold our meeting if you want to attend town meeting. It's kind of not fair to the board members, and it's not fair to the public that may want to attend our meeting.
And this one's gonna be,
So, the 21st,
Yeah, maybe we could try for,
the 28th,
wait, the 28th of what?
October,
well,
the
the
following
problem is.
Tuesday.
So if there's a special town meeting on the 4th, what are the chances the select board are gonna meet on the 5th? Because if it goes over,
It's a 2-article meeting,
Yeah, it won't go over. There's two different,
short-term rental articles.
yeah, and that's it.
we can always ask, see if we can do the 28th.
Does the 28th make sense? I mean, you were mentioning another
No.
day.
No, because we won't have any idea what the weights are, because we're not fishing till the 3rd.
So
Right.
maybe the 6th. But then that's after the select board meeting. So maybe that Monday, the opening day, right?
The other option is we have our meeting on the 4th, but we have it earlier. I don't know if that's a possibility, but we could,
Town meeting is what, 6 o'clock, or is it 5?
I think it's 5 or 6, but we could meet it we could just have our meeting on the 4th and just have one item on the agenda, and that's the limit. And talk about it, probably wouldn't take more than a half hour, 45 minutes, and then move
Yeah.
on.
And it's really us that wants to have the discussion, and I bet if you,
Excuse me, thank you.
thanks Ken,
Thanks.
I bet
Appreciate your service.
if you poll the scalpers,
On the 21st.
well, I bet if you poll the scalpers, they'd rather come to a shad meeting than go to a town meeting.
Well, you could have a meeting at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah.
and everyone would be in from fishing,
Yeah,
especially the first week. Some might be open, but if they really wanted to put their effort in, they would come, so. That would be my
Well-
suggestion, stick with the 4th and just do it at 3 o'clock.
Mhm.
And then
If the
gives
space
everyone-
is available, then,
Yeah, we could check, it's far enough out, maybe we could find it.
yeah. And we can discuss this again on the 21st, as there will be 2 weeks between the 21st and the 4th. So, yes. All right. Possible 3 p.m. for the 4th.
I'll ask Erica.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, and I will get in touch with the buyers. Do you,
I'll talk to the current about the 21st.
okay, how about talking to Jeff about the app?
I'll try to track Jeff down
Okay,
between now and the 21st.
great, great, thank you. If there's nothing else, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made by Mr. Brace, to adjourn tonight's meeting, seconded by Mr. DeCosta. All in favor, Mr. Brace?
Aye.
Mr. DeCosta?
Aye.
Ms. Mayo?
Aye.
Fonzie.
You know what? I'm gonna hold off on this just for a second, because I think this should be done, the public will get back to this if you don't mind. Just a quick discussion. Ms. Mayo has some information, about offshore wind that she's going to hand to us simply to take home and look over. And I just wanted to announce that, the public, so that we're not having a meeting after the meeting has adjourned. She's simply just gonna hand this out and we take it home. There's no discussion on it tonight. So, and if you could email that to Mr. Franzuto,
Okay.
that would be great,
Thanks.
since he's not here to take a hard copy. I'm sorry, I'll start the adjournment over again. The motion's been made by Mr. Brace, to adjourn tonight's meeting, seconded by Mr. DeCosta. All in favor, Mr. Brace?
Aye.
Mr. DeCosta?
Aye.
Ms. Mayo?
Aye.
Mr. Franzuto?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, everyone. This meeting is adjourned at 5:59 PM. Thank you, Tara. Good night.
Thanks, Tara.
Yeah, and this isn't something I'm trying to push
Hold
on
it,
anybody?
hold it, hold
Okay.
Oh, it's just general information.
Yes.
Ellen.
I just thought it was very interesting because it's about scallops.